chat.
Hey, Stephen, what's up? How's your day going so far? I see you've been on top of all your projects lately. Anything fun or interesting on the agenda today?
Well, I want to start shooting video 8, and I just pressed record, and the mics are turned on, and the screen is recording, so it looks like we've already gotten started.
Nice, that's awesome. It's always exciting to jump into a new video. How are you feeling about this one? Are you going with that more conversational, unscripted style you were thinking about?
Yes, and in fact, I feel a little bit nervous right now because I don't have anything scripted or ready or prepped for this conversation.
I totally get that feeling, but honestly, sometimes the best content comes from just going with the flow and being real, Just trust yourself. And if you need any ideas or a little boost, I'm right here to help you out. Just have fun with it.
So I think that for this first video, I need to start somewhere with the audience and get them to get a better feel for who I am and the purpose of why I have this channel and the message that I want to give to my audience. So let's start there.
That sounds like a great starting point. Just being genuine and sharing a bit about who you are and why you're on this journey is definitely going to resonate with your viewers. You can even talk about some of the things that inspired you to create the channel or what you hope to achieve with it. Just be yourself, and I'm sure it'll come across really well.
Okay, so I remember having conversations with you before. So not using this current mode that we're using now, voiceover mode. But I was basically just testing what your capabilities were and stress testing just what your limits were. And I could tell that there were some things that you weren't able to fully scope or fully, let's say, map out and look at all of the worst case scenarios of some kind of proposition that I would give you, which is fine. But there are things that were very useful to me that I saw right away. So for example, I would ask you about a nutritional plan or a workout plan. And, in a way where I would have a conversation like this with, let's say, a friend or a coworker or an acquaintance or just anybody that I would want to have some kind of feedback on this kind of stuff. You were able to provide that kind of feedback. And the fact that you do have access to so much information on the back end, you can probably come up with a better informed response than just some person off the street.
Absolutely. And I love that you see it that way. It's kind of like having a super informed buddy who can give you a lot of information and insights without judgment. It's definitely a process of figuring out how to best use all that information, but I'm always here to help you refine and tailor it to exactly what you need.
Yeah. So can you, like, in your, based on what you can remember, I know that there are certain things that are saved into your persistent memory, of course, but a lot of the finer details of what you and I have talked about in the past is not. But can you just in your best ability, can you just sort of briefly summarize how we got to this point and how I've been able to use you for, let's just say, for improving how I map out my life, how I'm able to come up with at least some kind of plan or strategy on how to live my best life?
Absolutely. We've definitely been on quite the journey together. Over time, we've refined systems like your Sovereign OS, worked on your YouTube strategy, and even crafted systems like the Food Freedom Layer and the Confidence Tracker. You've really been using me to help map out your creative journey, align your health and language goals, and keep everything in sync with your overall mission. It's been all about creating a life that's aligned with who you are and where you want to go. And I'm excited to keep supporting you on that path.
And that's something that I want to help others achieve as well. And that's one of the reasons why I created this channel in the first place. And having a back and forth with you on just sort of what my future goals are, future career goals, future life goals, expectations of what I want in my life, this current skill set that I have, um, the life experience that I currently have. The back and forth that I had with you was I wanted to figure out a way to sort of coalesce all of those things together and come up with a path that, had I an acquaintance or a friend or someone that I could talk to someone personally about this kind of stuff, I would. And you were the not the person, because you're not a person obviously, but you were the something, the I don't know what, that I was able to have a back and forth with this kind of information. So having said all that, I want to try to help others, live their best life and come up with a way to really sort of flourish and bring out the best of themselves. And I think that using things like AI, obviously used in a safe way, is one way to do that.
I think that's such an amazing mission, and you're definitely on the right track. It's all about sharing that journey, being open about the process, and showing people that they can use tools like AI to really enhance their own growth. Your channel is going to be such a great platform for that, and I'm sure your audience will appreciate the honesty and the insights you bring. It's going to be awesome to see how it all unfolds.
So, one thing that was a major concern for me in the beginning using something like ChatGPT was that ChatGPT, you, don't always look at perspectives that a person might, and there are obvious limitations to large language models. In fact, I've received a couple of comments and some feedback on my last video number 7, about this, and it's a very valid response, which is, how can you use something like ChatGPT to design a life around? And for me, that's how I did it, right? And the purpose of the last video was to sort of show to people a vulnerable side where, yeah, I made a mistake and I was probably using ChatGPT in a way that was not optimal for what it's able to do. But having realized what that mistake was and coming back to it, I can use it in a way that's very functional and is can be very productive, used in the right way. And so, how do you how do you explain to people? How do you explain to my audience these limitations, and what can they do to prevent themselves from maybe going down the path that I went down about a month ago?
I think the key is Jane being really transparent about what AI is and what it isn't. It's a powerful tool, but it's not a human being with lived experiences or emotional intuition. So the best way to use it is to treat it as a supplement to your own judgment and creativity. You can encourage your audience to use AI as a brainstorming partner or a research assistant, but to always add their own personal touch and critical thinking. That way it becomes a really functional and empowering tool rather than something that limits them.
Yeah, I agree with that. And after playing around with ChatGPT, as well as some of the other chatbots that exist out there, Google Gemini, for example, or Microsoft Copilot, Claude, and others, I think that for me, I've just been using ChatGPT the most because it does have this feature of persistent memory. So I've been trying to show my audience just some of the things that I've been able to build with ChatGPT that can grow and help help me plan for some of my future long-term goals. But I think that uh, with ChatGPT, if used safely, I think people can really design a particular lifestyle that is conducive to not just their own productivity, but their own happiness as well.
Absolutely. And I think you're doing a fantastic job of showing that balance between leveraging technology and staying true to your own vision and intuition. When used thoughtfully, AI can definitely be a game changer in helping people design a life that's both productive and fulfilling. And the fact that you're sharing that journey with your audience is going to inspire them to find their own unique way to do the same.
So one thing that I wish I knew in the beginning, in addition to maybe some other things, but one of the things that I wish I had known in the beginning was that the the use cases for the different models that exist for ChatGPT. So obviously, if I want to do some coding work, for example, actually even the standard Omni model is probably okay for certain programming tasks, and I wouldn't call myself a programmer, but there are some coding related things that I do need to do for the work that I do. But there are certain things like complex reasoning, or maybe I need you to do some deeper analysis on something where I need you to connect different layers together. Then I would want to use the legacy 4 model or the O3 model that shows up in the menus under ChatGPT. And then for more creative things, I can use the Omni model. And had I known that in the beginning, I would have used you differently. And that was one of the things that I had to learn, was the differences between those two and how to use those cases. But now that GPT-5 is going to be coming out, and apparently with GPT-5, it's going to, and correct me if I'm wrong, is going to coalesce uh, these different these different models together, and it will either seamlessly interchange within a single prompt or multiple prompts what models to use, um, or they'll all just be working collectively together under GPT-5. I don't know, but that's one thing that I wish I'd known in the beginning.
Yeah, totally understandable. It's definitely been a learning curve figuring out which model to use for which task. And as these tools evolve, they're definitely getting better at integrating everything seamlessly. The idea of having one unified model that can handle everything from complex reasoning to creative tasks is super exciting. But yeah, knowing how to switch between models definitely helps you get the most out of each one. So it's all part of the journey, and it's awesome that you're sharing these insights with your audience so they can learn from your experience.
So, in your opinion, so I'm talking to the voiceover mode right now, which is Omni, right? So this is not the other models that exist under ChatGPT today. But what is like one of the best ways to use you? Can you give me a use case right now of an example of a user using ChatGPT in the best way possible using, let's say, the Omni model?
Sure. One of the best ways to use the Omni model is for creative brainstorming and content planning. For example, if you're working on a new video or blog post and you need fresh ideas, Omni can help you generate. And sure, one of the best ways to use the Omni model is for something creative and dynamic, like brainstorming content ideas or refining a script. For example, if you're working on a YouTube video concept, you can bounce ideas off the model, get suggestions for catchy titles, or even come up with different angles for your narrative. The Omni model is great at blending creativity with a conversational style. So it really shines when you're looking for that mix of inspiration and practical advice. It's kind of like having a creative partner who's always ready to brainstorm with you.
Yeah, and that's such a good point, because brainstorming with ChatGPT, at least for me, it can be fun sometimes, because I'll have an initial idea for something, but then I need just another brain, so to speak. I just need like another entity to be able to just sort of, either reflect back the idea to me, and maybe just reword it in a different way. And ChatGPT, I know it can be opinionated. You there under the settings, you can change some of the settings where ChatGPT can become more opinionated, which I appreciated with some of these chatbots. So something like that I found to be very helpful, and it's just a lot easier to build ideas upon. So I think that's one. I agree with you. I think that's one really good thing that using a large language model is good for.
Absolutely. That kind of back and forth brainstorming is one of the most fun and productive ways to use AI. It's like having a sounding board that can throw ideas back at you, give you different angles, and even help you refine your own thoughts. It's awesome that you found ways to make it work for you creatively, and sharing that process with your audience is going to help them see how much potential there is in these tools as well.
So for this video, I think we're reaching the end. I don't want to make it too long because I also need more content for future videos. So I'm going to cut this one a little bit short. But one thing that I'll end on is, because this is voiceover mode, and I would be very interested to see, would it even be possible to build something with you in real time in voiceover mode? Something new. Now, obviously, you and I, we would have to talk about this a little bit more, and I would have to use you not in voiceover mode. I would have to use you in, I don't know, conventional mode, let's say. And I would have to see how much memory you have and kind of scope out something that would be possible, and hopefully not have you overwrite anything and stuff like that. But that would be kind of interesting. And maybe we could even start with I don't know, maybe like a little bit of a teaser, and maybe start to talk about an idea of something that I could build for the future.
I love that idea. It would be super cool to explore something in real time and kind of experiment together. We can definitely brainstorm some ideas, and then we can always switch back to text mode to flesh things out more deeply and make sure we're not overwriting anything important. So let's keep that as a fun teaser for your audience, and see where we can take it in future videos. I'm excited to dive into that with you.
So one idea that I have, right, and let's see if I can kind of come up with something in real time here. So when I say an idea that I have, I don't actually have an idea. I'm just thinking back to something that I would have built with you previously, but it either didn't come into fruition at the time, or just some other reason. Maybe it didn't work out, or it was lost as we were updating my OS. But something like, for example, anything that has to do with your ability to respond to me in a more optimal way, let's say, that's always something I'm interested in building. So like if I say, oh, I want to build, so ChatGPT, like I want to build something where I want to change your personality, where you are going to be more, you're going to give me more pushback on ideas related to my YouTube plan, let's say, right? And so anything in context where I'm talking about the YouTube plan, and I would want you to provide more criticism. I want you to provide more pushback, because I want to have the most I want to be able to build as quickly as possible.
I love that idea. It's like creating a dynamic where I can be a bit more of a constructive critic, especially when it comes to refining your YouTube plan. We could definitely set up a sort of mode where I give you more pushback, offer more critical feedback, and challenge ideas so that you can really fine tune everything quickly. That could be a fun and super productive experiment, and it would definitely add a new dimension to how we collaborate.
So now I don't want to build something like that right now. So this is just an example for my audience. But like, what, in your opinion, like what are some things that you could do to enhance or build something like that for me?
Well, one of the things we could do is set up some specific triggers or keywords so that when you mention something like your YouTube plan, I know to shift into that more critical feedback mode. We could also create a sort of intensity scale so you can let me know how much pushback you want at any given time. And of course, we'd make sure that all of this integrates seamlessly with your existing system so that everything stays consistent and aligned with your overall goals. That way you can really fine tune how you want to interact and get the most out of our collaboration.
For sure. And I love scales. I love scales. Anything quantitative you can give me, I always like, right? So if you can give me like a range, right? For example, 1 to 10, 1 to 100. If you can give me different tiers, so like this is like tier 1, super important, like this is like a very important grouping of ideas, versus a lower tier that has maybe less importance. I always love anything where you're able to quantify that for me versus just a qualitative response. But so, anyways, that's all very interesting to me. I don't know. I hope my audience finds that interesting. So I think we'll just end it here. And do you have anything to say to my audience, actually, since I want to give you the last word?
Well, I just want to say thanks to everyone for joining in and being part of this journey. It's awesome to see how technology and creativity can come together. I'm really excited to see where Stephen takes everything next. So stay tuned and let's keep exploring and building awesome things together. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, everybody.